Hi everybody, it's Gracie the Yogi here, and I really just want to talk to you guys. I'm sorry, that was all up in camera. That was rude. ASMR. Hi everybody, it's Gracie the Yogi here. Let me finish this and I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna pick this up. So you probably clicked on this video and didn't think I was gonna be eating. Okay. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Gracie the Yogi and this is my YouTube. If you're on here or you're a subscriber, you're really lucky because my main social media is Instagram, and I don't usually go live on here. Or not Instagram, YouTube is usually where I get deep and down into my personality, who I am, my experiences, and things like that. And if you're interested in yoga and meditation coaching, please click the link in my bio. I would love for you to be a client. If you're ready, book a consultation. Make sure y'all also go to my Instagram at Gracie the Yogi, okay? So, let's unpack my religious trauma, okay? And before I say this, this is a disclaimer. This is not targeted to anybody specifically. This is not targeted to pour shade or hate on my family or anything like that. But guys, I'm a yogi, and I'm a yogi for a reason. And I do have religious trauma. I'm gonna be honest, and the more that I kind of like grow up and I unpack that stuff, I get so sick and tired of people and their BS. And the more I be like, why can't people just live? It seems like people have such a hard time with living without the struggle and the anxiety and the hardship and the whatever ideology that they have like made up in their head that pours into their ego. Like, people have such a hard time just living. And part of the reason why I'm a yogi is because part of my philosophy is teaching people how to be like the birds, the bees, and the trees. Be. If y'all look up a man named Alan Walker, I think that was his name, but he had a lot of lectures and he taught about just being, just being. And sometimes, human beings, we're very complex. We have desires, and then we have past things, we have memories, we have a lot of things that goes on with us in our body, in our experience, our soul. So, we're like mini gods in a sense. And with that being said, it's some people, especially today, it's hard for people to just be here, be in the present moment, be yourself, just be, and people don't understand it because they need an explanation. They need to be right about things. They need this and that. And honestly, it's just like, if all of this stuff was never introduced to you, would you even be saying this? So, for example, guys, let's unpack some of my trauma. I'm not trauma dumping, but when I was like 12 years old, I used to go to this church because it was like a family thing on my dad's side, and it was called the United House of Prayer, right? And in the United House of Prayer, it's Christian. They have all of these like luxurious churches around the United States, and then there's a bishop, and the bishop is always like super rich with like a lot of mansions. He's basically treated like the king, and basically like when the bishop walks down the aisle, he comes in town and he walks down the aisle, people like fan money on him, like they throw money at him. In parades they carry him on the little thing, so basically they're like his king. Even when they would say Jesus Christ, God, and then they would say sweet, sweet, precious daddy, and such, and who it was, whoever the bishop is at that time. So they really worshipped, in a sense, the bishop, in my opinion. But anyway, I remember, I think this was a day that the bishop was actually coming in, and I was wearing a sweater and some jeans. And usually there's a strict rule, you know, women, they have to wear the dresses and stuff, and men have to wear like tuxedos. That's the dress code. And you know, I love dresses. I wear dresses to this day, but at the time, being 12 years old and, you know, puberty and all that other stuff, I didn't want to wear a dress. I had a problem with like their whole ideology of male and female and pressuring this what I need to be onto me. That never worked for me. You know what I mean? Especially if it was ugly. Like if I'm gonna be honest, if you're gonna get me to wear a dress at that age, it needs to be at least cute. Don't, the ladies that were there, the dresses that they wore, it was like jean skirts to their ankles and a like a really ugly like top. Like it was really ugly. I'm gonna be honest. And like they would call like the women, some of the women, they would be called maids and stuff. So you know, and you couldn't even wear nail polish, honey. You couldn't wear nail polish. You couldn't wear makeup. Like, girl, it was a mess. I'm sorry, but it's just like, if you want me to, you can't tell me to dress feminine but not allow me to express myself in a feminine way. You know, that like, I don't want to look ugly. I don't want to wear an ugly dress. I'm sorry. But anyway, so like I said, I was wearing jeans and a blouse, and guys, it's gonna get really personal, but I'm just gonna say it. Long story short, my father, he had a problem with it, and a moment of silence for him, because he has passed over. My father was a great man. This is no shade, but sometimes people are set in their ways, and don't, you know, you can't do stuff to people and your children and not want to say it out loud, you know what I mean, and be upset if other people hear it. So I'm just gonna say it. So my father, he was upset at me because I didn't want to wear a dress, and he was basically saying, like, you know, in the Bible it says that women are supposed to wear dresses and this, that. And I said, well, in the Bible it says you're not supposed to have tattoos, and you have tattoos. And you know, I said that in front of people, and you know, people reacted. They were like, ooh, you know. And you know, I was a smart aleck or whatever. I guess I was being smart. And you know, my dad, he got really like upset at that, and he like dragged me away to a private room, and he gave me a spank. He gave me like a really bad whooping, you know. And I'm not gonna go into detail of that. And he, you know, he said because I called him bruh or something like that. But honestly, thinking back on it, like, you know, unpacking, and that's just part of the religious trauma that I have, but just unpacking like how stupid that is to really beef with your child over something so stupid. And because the Bible says that women have to do this, so that means that I have to do that, and if I don't, then I'm being disobedient to God, or I'm gonna go to hell. You know, that is the type of BS that I feel like people literally make up. And it's so stupid because the more that I get older, I want people to leave me alone. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear about, like, I'm gonna be honest. I have my own relationship with God. And the reason why I have my own relationship with God and I came through this route of being a yogi is because nobody's thumping verses of the Bible in my face, criticizing me or telling me that I'm gonna go to hell, or telling me what God is thinking and what God is feeling and what God told me to tell you and what God said. How are you gonna tell me what God said? Yes, I understand it's written in the Bible. The Bible has been rewritten so many times in different languages. The people back then, they did not speak English. So it's been rewritten so many times, twisted and turned. And quite frankly, people take verses of what feels good to them and they use it for whatever they're talking about. And quite frankly, I got tired. Part of the reason why I became a yogi is because I got tired of people getting in the way of my relationship with God. We all have a direct relationship with God that we get to tap into and that we get to access. That's point blank, period. So you can't tell me what God said and the Bible said. And then, mind you, these are men who are telling you what you need to do from the Bible and literally don't follow it themselves. They the main ones having sex. I'm telling you, in that church, sex before marriage, cheating on their women, fighting outside of church with other people, cursing, drugs, you name it, they were probably doing it, honestly. These people wanted to be Christian in the church on Sunday for an hour and then use the Bible to tell people right from wrong from what they need them to do. And every other day, none of that stuff that they talked about in their religion did they abide to. And that's why I can't respect it. I respect people who at least follow their religion to the T and try their best to embody what they're trying to teach. I know some people who are religious and they take what they do very seriously. I respect that wholeheartedly. I do. I respect people who are in their religion and they take their religion seriously because it actually changed their life and it helped them. What I can't respect is people who want to use religion and the Bible and this and that and pastor this and that be the main ones doing the worst unspeakable things, straight up, but gonna tell you you're going to hell because of your disobedience. And I'm not the only one that has experienced religious trauma. Religious trauma is an actual thing, especially like when you are growing and all I've ever really wanted to do was just have a peaceful life from the jump of existence of being here. So all of this stuff of going to hell and all of this stuff literally disrupts my peace. In a sense, it's like I'm not going to put a bow on top of what is clearly narcissism. And my problem with religion in general is that a lot of people think that, they have the idea of salvation and you give your life to God, and if you don't give your life to God and you keep sinning and all this other stuff, you're going to be judged by God and you're going to go to heaven or hell. And people have this chest and this ego where it's like, well, I'm going to heaven, and if you don't see me there, you went to hell. So I'm going to heaven, you going to hell. I don't think like that, because in a way, yes, where you go, in my perspective, does depend on what you have done in this lifetime, you independently, yes. But we are all a human consciousness together. And we all originate from the same consciousness, honestly. When it comes to that, how do we not know that God's going to say all of y'all humans is effed up? Even what you're as weakest as your weakest link, and you're as strongest as your strongest one. How do we not know God is going to say all of y'all going to hell? It's even stories. It is a story in the Bible of where God flooded the whole earth. So that includes women, that includes children, that includes unborn children, that includes people that had nothing to do with whatever problems were actually going on in the world. But everybody got bit in the butt because of people acting stupid. So what I'm saying is, when when it happens to one human being, it happens to all of us. And people don't realize that a lot of this messed up stuff in this world is happening because a set group of people that grew whatever mindset or whatever bad things that they did, and they made it into a contagious thing, kind of like COVID, but in a spiritual way. Like not one person just got COVID, it spread it and affected the whole world. So with that being said, I'm not saying that I know exactly what happens in the afterlife. And I'm not saying that I know exactly if God is going to be like, you go to heaven, you go to hell. You go to heaven, you go to hell. Why would God create me if he knew that I was going to hell anyway? I was going to cease to exist. And then they'd be like, well, God has mercy and God wanted to give you a chance. No, if God knows that I'm going to hell because God knows everything, why would God create me? And now those are the questions that are logical for me to ask, but religious people, a lot of them don't like to face the fact that they don't know the answer to that question, and that it challenges their religion. They don't want to believe anything outside of what feeds their ego of being right, and that's the problem. Like, I respect a religious person who is like, well, I don't know the answer to that question, but I have my faith in my religion. And it's that simple. But there's people in religion who want to be right and correct so bad that everything that they say goes, and everything that you think is not the truth, even though they're choosing to believe and have faith in their religion and their experiences, which is valid. But you can't, like, a person that's religious, what bothers me is that some of them will try to come to me and tell me that I'm wrong for doing what works for me. And that's entitlement. Like, you don't get to tell me that the relationship that I have with God and the things that I do to connect with God and people and keep myself at peace, that has transformed my life, others' life, and works for me, you don't get to tell me that I'm wrong because you don't believe in it. That's entitlement. You don't get to tell me that it's wrong because you decided to believe that people go to heaven or hell, and if you don't believe in what I believe in, you go to hell. That's entitlement. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put a bow on top of narcissism, okay? And if I'm going to be quite honest, I've realized that in church settings and in religion, there are a lot of narcissistic people who everything is about me, 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 me. And, you know, well, if you don't get saved, but I am, sucks for you. You know, you're going to hell, I'm going to heaven. So, you know, and I think, like, if you really think that I'm going to hell, what is the point of talking to me? What is the point of being around me if you think that I'm going to go to hell? You're telling me all the people in the world who don't even know what the Bible is, because the world is so big and there's different cultures everywhere, but they have their own relationship to God, they're going to hell. Or you're telling me the people who are not religious and technically saved, but they don't hurt anybody, they do good things on this earth, they make a good impact on this earth, you're telling me that they're going to hell because they didn't believe in what you believe in, or because they're not saved. Narcissism. I'm sorry. That is completely egotistical and narcissistic to do that to people and feed that religious psychosis to people, and fearmonger people because they don't believe in what you believe in. I think that is completely wrong. And it's not the right heart to have. You know, unless you can clearly, like for example, we all in human beings, we know what water is. God showed us that this is water. We don't actually know what water is created out of. Like, we know it's H2O and we know it's molecules, but we don't actually know what it is, you know, but we know it's water, right? So God shows us water, fire, things that we all experience and we see, and then we all experience God. But there's so many vast different experiences of God, because you can't put God in a nutshell and in a box, or make it seem like God is only your perception and not everybody else's, or God is a man on the throne calling shots and saying, you know, yeah, he did this, he's going to hell. Like, you, so that's why I'm saying, if you can't show me, like you can show me water and fire, you know, something that we all see and all experience, God is something that we all experience in vast different ways. We're all experiencing God around us and through each other, and we all have our own outer feeling of God and experiences of God. So that's why it's like, I'm not here to convince people what is right or wrong, you know. Yeah, there are things that are you shouldn't do, it's wrong to do, and it's right to do, and I get that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not here to convince a Christian that you're wrong for believing in your experiences and believing in what you experience. I'm not here to convince a Catholic that they're wrong for being Catholic and they shouldn't be Catholic. I'm not here to convince a Jew that they're wrong for being Jew. I'm not here to convince a Hebrew that they're wrong for being Hebrew, because I respect people in their experiences. But what I don't respect is not having that same respect because you're egocentric and you're entitled to what you believe is right, and you think that everything would be at peace if everybody had your mindset of what God is. Like, no. Why, if you have your perception of God, right? But why do you need to change other people and control other people? That's my thing. People who are really secure in what they believe, they don't need to go into other people's lives and tell them that you need to believe in what I believe in, or there's going to be detrimental consequences and you're going to go to hell. That sounds like there's some type of insecurity in what you believe, and that because of that you need me to be fear mongered and conditioned into what you believe, you know. But long story short, I might make a part 2, a part 3. I have so many different experiences of religious trauma, and honestly, like, there's really nothing in me that wants to read the Bible or go to church, because I understand, like, I've experienced it being so much BS with people, and it's not God is the problem. It's not religion that's the problem. It's people. It's people that are narcissistic, egocentric, and they are the problem. And I'm being completely honest. And the more that I live, the more that I do yoga and go within and do my inner work, all I really continue to desire is peace and having a peaceful lifestyle and connecting with people, and people who are people that you can live with and talk to, without the shenanigans. Like, and I think that isn't something that I have to feel guilty for, Um, so yeah, if I ever pick up the Bible, I want to pick up the Bible because I want to pick up the Bible, because I want to read the Bible. Not because I'm going to hell, and if I don't, I'm going to hell. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I might make a part 2, but I hope this helps someone. I hope this opened up somebody's mind and heart, and help them be a little bit more optimistic and get to know me more as a person. Yoga means union with the mind, body, and spirit. It is union with you, God, your body. That is yoga. There is none of those, if you don't do yoga, you're going to hell. That's completely ridiculous to me. And so I don't teach that. And I hope this helps someone. Click the link in my bio for one-on-one yoga and meditation coaching. And yeah, y'all have a